We all know that artificial intelligence is here, it's present, evolving. So if you are very focused and you only do your work and you only have certain skill, the chance that you won't be ready for different things is much smaller, from others that can connect, challenge, and see what people are doing and have a broader understanding. You're much more fluid than if you're only focused and doing your work remotely for only one activity. And that's, if you don't talk to people about it, they may not think about it. Well, okay, I'm doing my work, getting paid, but how can I have a better understanding of the complexity of things that I could possibly do? And we have a lot here, a lot of things that it's a professional services company. And a lot of the things happen by speaking, by creating, by innovating.
What you're saying, it's I was reading, and I don't remember who was that said this. The CEO of, I don't remember the name of the company exactly, but he was talking about the use of AI in their companies, right? And that before going and asking for more headcount, he said, you need to show me that this, that you cannot do with artificial intelligence what you need another person to do. You got to show that. If you cannot do it with AI, then go and hire the person. But if not, you do it with AI, right? And when I think about that, say we've always been kind of the education systems and how things work. You're kind of used to, you're an accountant, or you are, you have your specific box in which you act. But now that I'm I don't know what's going to happen. But what do you see it's happening there, right? In terms of, should people focus on kind of very specific skills, accounting or coding or whatever the skill is, or they should, kind of zoom out, look at the bigger picture, and develop more rounded skills. I mean, I'm not sure what you're saying.
Well, I'll give you a consultant answer, right? It depends. But be more practical here. If you are in a role that is very clear that this role is replaceable by artificial intelligence, I mean, we don't believe that you have artificial intelligence replacing humans 100% of the jobs and so on. I think that's an exaggeration. But you may have as part, let's say, some roles, some replaced, others it will be augmented, as we say. So these people can do something else,
Yeah.
so you can change, you can upgrade your skills and other things. So those are kind of, let's say, skills that can be learned by doing or being retrained, or by engaging in projects that we already have here in the company that are available
Mhm.
and that you learn. So I think that's something that we always talk and push to people, and actually our it's about us, about the employers, but it's also about the colleagues to engage. So we are here. We offer a lot, several trainings, and I'm sure like the corporations that you cover in the podcast are pretty much major organizations, multinational, and so on. They train, and you see people reacting different ways.
Mm.
So the same training, the same opportunities for some of the colleagues, and some of them are doing, are excited, are looking and wanting to connect and learning, and the other guys are. So at least we need to make this call for action, speak up and show, and then we have very good people taking advantage and growing and augmenting their impact.
Yeah. And I go with that because when you think about that, artificial intelligence comes, and that technology is able to do things in a speed and in a way that no human can really. But it won't replace you really. It will it will um, free uh, attention span and time, so you can go and focus on something else that will create more value, right? And I think the challenge is there in how how leaders, how companies create that and say, okay, look, this task that you're doing is not really adding any value. Let's see how artificial intelligence can do that, and let's train you to do something of more value, right? Something better. And I think that's the challenge, because uh, there's no many people that you can go out there and hire that are super AI experts. This is new. No one really knows much about it. So what I'm looking at now is companies need to train these people in the company, because you need to do that. There's no, it's kind of the only option. But how, and you mentioned that you have different projects and things going on. Do you see that companies are really taking advantage of the talent that they already have and training them to do things of more value? Or what are you seeing in terms of how companies are training their people to use AI in their work,
I will answer that, but I just want to make one comment building on
Yeah.
what we were discussing here. It's way more engaging. Well, first, people, this generation is anxious, right? It's a lot of anxiety going around because you really don't know, and the level of change is super fast.
Yeah.
So one of the things we need to do is realize that there is this level of anxiety and engage our colleagues to be active players, I mean, active participants of this transformation. Because if people get engaged and trained, they will be part of designing the solutions. They will look at the possibilities and suggest, because they know the clients, they know their tasks, and so on. So this is really inspirational when we can look at this journey and invite, I mean, the talent around to be an active part. And even this talent can look, okay, I'm moving here, so what's next? So I think this is the right journey that there are a lot of companies doing with this approach. There are others that are one step ahead, and we see here in some of our projects there are companies that are already looking a couple of years in terms of what's the future of work gonna be, and you start from the job, from the work, not from the technology. Because as we were discussing, if you start from technology, you create anxiety in people, you have detractors and so on. So if you build, I mean, how I wanna have this future, the work in the future, and then you add technology as a
Hmm.
component of part of the things that you can, and you retrain people, and people feel, okay, that's our plan. It's not a technology plan that will replace my job. So I think trying to combine a little bit of what you asked with what we have been seeing here in terms of how approach to intelligence, and keep the talent motivated, and it's also it's going to be great.
It's going to be great. I think this is a I mean, it's a great time. The amount of things you can do and the value that you can create when you previously probably didn't have the skills. I can build a landing page in a few minutes, and I
It's
don't know how
amazing.
to, and I don't know how to code.
It's
It's
it's it's
crazy, and
unbelievable.
it's a pretty good looking one,
Yeah, yeah,
But
yeah.
it's just crazy. But I'm pretty sure that someone that understands design and have these skills, they can do that way better than I can, by uh, prompting. You were saying something in relation to the generations and the different generations. You have a director with 80 years old. I'm not sure how old are you, but maybe 40 something, 50 something probably, and then you have people in their 30s, and you have all these different generations and that have different motivations and perspective on what work is. When you think about, I'm thinking about my grandfather. He was you know, of my generation, 12 years old, 13 years old, and they were building houses, right? And is in at 12 years old, probably I was playing video games, and all those different motivations and perspectives. And I, in talking to different leaders and companies, I see that that is a challenge on getting these people to understand each other and work together. That's become a bit of a challenge. But if you stop to think about it, do you do you see that there's something that younger generations can learn from older generations and vice versa? Because everybody has their own perspectives, their own motivations, but I'm pretty sure that these people can learn from these people and this can learn from this, right?
Yeah.
Do you see
Uh,
anything? Yeah.
yeah, definitely. And we were young as well, right? I'm 50. I,
50.
started working 20, so
Yeah.
I was young. I wanted to have a raise in 6 months and so on,
Yeah.
So I mean, regardless of nowadays, we have more generations and more technology, and everyone is digital, and the patience, the patience for timing is much more reduced than it was when I was 20 years old.
Mhm.
I still learned from other people and learning about their career and how they got to where they are. And so I think organizing those groups and those conversations needs to be in the agenda of the leadership. So and in both ways, there is also the reverse mentoring programs that you learn a lot. So what are you looking? And I have a sort of reverse mentor because I have 3 children. And I get to my home every day and they're looking at something that I had no idea existed.
Yeah.
So, so this is kind of, it's a joke, right? But I mean, we have also reverse mentoring. So these conversations, well-structured programs, they do help a lot. And there's other demographics that are happening. So when you have people speaking and talking, and we are there listening, we also learn. So one of the things that is happening, I mean, the obvious concern nowadays is how can we get the new generations more engaged
Okay.
in the company instead of staying 1 year and changing and so on. But you have other challenges, and I'll give you a couple of them. So as we get older, we are now in charge of our parents. And, so you see a lot of people with facing this situation nowadays. So
Mhm.
you're not only in charge of your children, you're in charge of your children and your parents.
Parents.
Exactly. So, and especially for the females, that we know that it's a reality. They do accumulate. So, how can we build this empathy when these people need to take care of
Mhm.
them, live in space and be and understand that this is part of the new world that we're living in. So, understanding these trends and demographics, but it all ends up about conversations and looking and understanding and realizing so that people can be their best in their company.